So remember, these are the people who are in charge of teaching your children critical and intelligent thinking. So let's, this is great. Let's give them a chance to air their grievances and explain just why they are on strike. So here we go.
I do believe we're getting criticized unfairly because we are not greedy people.
Okay, so she's not greedy people. She's not part of a greedy group. Fantastic. So let's hear her make the justifications for that and see what her reasoning is like.
We're extremely passionate.
We're extremely passionate. Well, I think actually technically greed is a passion for more and more. So greed is not the opposite of passion, but that would take a fair amount of philosophical thinking, or at least 2 or 3 seconds of it. So let's let this lady continue. She's an 8th grade teacher.
I wouldn't do this job for the money. I don't get paid $71,000 a year, and
I wouldn't do this job for the money. Well, then you should do it for free. If you're not going to do the job for the money, then you should do it for free. And now she shows us her wonderful grasp of mathematics.
I don't get paid $71,000 a year, and I don't know of anyone else over here, my staff, anyone else that does.
Okay, so what she's saying here is that the average wage for a teacher in Chicago, Illinois, is $71,000 a year. That's for about a 5.5-hour workday. That's even pushing it, with a couple of months off in the summer, massive benefits, healthcare, pension, or job security, tenure, blah, blah, blah. So the true value is it's over $100,000, easy peasy. Now she's saying, I don't know anyone who makes that much. In other words, this is a woman who's teaching 8th grade math, who has absolutely no idea what the word average means. In other words, she'd be saying, well, nobody I know is a dentist, and therefore there's no such thing as dentistry. Well, nobody I know is 6'8", therefore the NBA is just a computer-generated fantasy. She has no idea what an average means. I mean, what does she do when she marks tests? Well, the average mark would be about a B-, so I guess I'll just give everyone a B- and go and get my teeth whitened. So, again, massive failure in terms of even a remote capacity to grasp basic concepts. Let's keep going.
And we feel like the press is really coming, bashing us a little bit and telling us that we're lazy when we're obviously not. We've been out here since 6:30 in the morning.
Okay, so the press is bashing her a little bit and calling her lazy because she has been out there since 6:30 in the morning to not teach. Ooh, it makes my brain hurt. I'm not lazy because I got up at 6:30 in the morning to not go to work. And I think that's quite important because they were called out early to do a strike action. So you should try that. Next time you're at your job, so you go to your boss and you can say, listen, man, I really, really need a 16% raise next year, because you remember that day that I called in sick? I wasn't actually sick. I went to go fishing, and I got up at like 6:30 in the morning to go fishing. And so that proves that I'm a really hard worker and deserve a raise. Give it a shot. Let's try the public sector approach in the free market. Let's continue. Oh.
We get to school on time every day.
Oh, I should get a 16% raise because I show up to work on time. You don't get to get a raise for showing up to work on time. You get to not get fired for showing up to work on time if the time that you put in is productive. I mean, that's just astounding. I mean, it's getting an A+ in this economy to get a massive raise. And so, what does this mean? This is so clueless. This is a woman who's been through the public sector educational system for probably close to 2 decades. I mean, she, kindergarten through high school, college degree, teaching certificate or teaching degree. So this is someone who has gone through about 2 decades of government education, who is saying completely absurd stuff like this. So if getting a 16% raise is kind of like getting an A+, then clearly her students should come to her with the following argument. Look, I showed up to the test on time, therefore I should get an A+. I don't know. Maybe Chowderhead Cubie Cakes would actually do that. Let's keep going.
We are extremely hardworking, and we're there for our students.
So, okay, hardworking and there for their students. Okay, except you're not actually there for your students, you're striking, and seem to be having a pretty good time striking as well. Anyway.
We believe in education, and we believe in public education, and we believe in fairness. And so
we believe, we feel, I mean, there's not a single rational argument here, not a single statistic, not a single comparison of any kind. It's all subjectivist, emotional, collectivist garbage, which of course is exactly what you'd expect from people who've gone through 2 decades of government education. We believe in education, and therefore we should get more money. I mean, one woman was saying that she has 43 5-year-olds and she's 1 teacher. I mean, that's mad. That's completely insane. And you try that in sort of a free market daycare, see how far you get. Of course, when you charge more for teachers, you end up with fewer teachers. Of course. I mean, Illinois is completely broke. But even sort of passing that aside, if you are charging more for teachers, then you're going to end up with fewer teachers. So actually, there's fewer of you there for the children if you demand these raises. But of course, how could the woman understand this? She's never had any exposure to voluntarism in the market sense in her life. Straight from school into the amniotic, union-shielded sack of infinite protection and so on of the public sector unions. So let's see what else she has to say.
just like for them to support us in our cause of making their schools better.
So making their schools better. She's not, of course, mentioning the just catastrophic facts that only a little over half of those who enter high school graduate, that 8% of students in the Illinois public school system actually end up completing a 4-year degree. I'm not saying a 4-year degree is the be-all and end-all, but, you know, that is sort of a... and people have been telling me, oh, Steph, you don't understand. It's the family. The families are such... Of course the families are problems. The families are huge problems. And this woman, I would guarantee you, supports the same welfare policies that have produced these bad families, so she has cause in the matter as well. And if you read the biography of Michelle Rhee called The Bee Eater, you will find out that even though in Washington the families are arguably as bad, if not worse, there was still a huge turnaround in education when they got rid of bad teachers. Right? See, students can fail. Teachers can't fail. And this is one reason why we grow up so insane, is that those in power use that power to exclude themselves from the very standards they impose upon those who are dependent on them. Anyway, I think let's hold our nose and finish up.
Really invite the mayor to come into my specific school, my specific classroom, and see the amount of students that are in my room at a time, the working conditions that we have.
Okay, so she's saying that there are too many students in her class, but raising teacher salaries is not going to fix that. What they could do, of course, is they could get rid of overhead, right? So $10,000 plus per student, 43 students in a class. I mean, it's close to $500,000 per year, and the teacher is getting paid $74,000 plus benefits. Where's all the $300,000, $350,000, $400,000 going? Well, it's going to overhead, and it's going to teachers' pensions, right? So almost 3/4 of every new dollar put into the Illinois school system goes to pay teachers' pensions, because like retirement pensions and healthcare costs. Of course, this is a government system, so you end up with the greatest cost being people who aren't even working.
And the lack of support from him. And if he believes in things like merit-based pay, I would invite him to do the same. He can take merit-based pay if he would like, and then I will follow suit. But until he does, I'm not going to.
So, Rahm Emanuel has to take merit-based pay along with the teachers. I mean, I think that's perfectly fair, and this really is an argument against these kinds of state protections, both for politicians and for public sector unions. But of course, this is part of the hypocrisy of the entitled political class with gold-plated pensions and benefits attacking school teachers for pensions and benefits. Anyway, it's all nonsense, but this is it's really chilling. This is like watching a fish in the bottom of a boat flopping around thinking it's swimming. Or, you know, there's a scene in the movie Parenthood where Keanu Reeves crashes a car in a race and just comes out half-dazed and says, "Did we win?" This is where it is. It's a horrible thing to watch, just how broken and fucked up people's brains are. But, of course, this is how it replicates itself generation to generation. This is Stefan Molyneux from Free Domain Radio. Thank you for watching. Hi, everybody. A quick video response to some comments on my last video, watching a Chicago teacher's brain die. So people have said, no, they don't work that little. They work a lot. Teachers work a lot. So I'll put the link to this book below. First, teachers work a 7.5-hour day. So how much of the time are they actually delivering educational material, or teaching, as the word is used herein?
Well, they're required to be at school 30 minutes before school starts and remain there for 30 minutes after school ends. The kids are not there, so that's 6.5 hours of possible teaching. But the children get a 30-minute recess in the morning and in the afternoon, so that's 5.5 hours of possible teaching. But there's a 1 hour lunch break where the children get another recess after eating, so that's 4.5 hours of possible teaching. But the children take a 30-minute class in music, PE, or the library each day, so that leaves 4 hours of possible teaching. Then our district emphasizes reading, so the children do 30 minutes of silent reading each day. The teacher is there but not teaching, so now we're down to 3.5 hours each day. I take away another 30 minutes in the morning when the children are putting away their backpacks and sitting down, getting organized. The teacher is taking attendance, doing the lunch count, collecting homework, and the morning announcements are taking place. The Pledge of Allegiance, and in the afternoon, when the children are cleaning up the classroom, collecting their books and papers, putting on their jackets and backpacks before being dismissed. Now we're down to 3 hours of teaching a day. Add to this the 5 minutes here and there when the kids are getting in line to go to recess, music, PE, or library, and lunch and being marched to their destination by the teacher. It adds up to at least 15 minutes a day. So now we're down to 2 hours and 45 minutes of possible actual teaching time delivering material. So out of a 7.5 hour workday, the teacher is actually delivering material to the students for less than 3 hours. And then, of course, the teaching has become a part-time job. They get all national holidays off, plus a few personal holidays, plus a long Thanksgiving, Christmas, spring break. They're off for 3 months in the summer while receiving a nice salary and healthcare and retirement benefits, sick leave, and they wear casual dress to work with little or no supervision, and they're expected to work independently. And this guy says, well, this bodes well for homeschooling. If there are only 2 hours and 45 minutes of actual delivery of material a day, parents can easily do that in the evenings. And so, of course, I'm not saying the teachers don't work, but it's not quite the same as actually delivering material. So this guy says, I wish to point out that teachers do work all day long, even getting kids organized in the morning is work. Then there are papers to grade and worksheets to make up. But they do have nearly 5 hours a day for this. 5 hours a day of time, but they're not actually teaching to do this. So, yeah. Check with your kids and do the math yourself. In that 2 hours and 45 minutes each day, they have to teach English, arithmetic, spelling, social sciences, including history and geography and art, PE, and so on. That's about 25 to 30 minutes a day for each subject. Well, that's important. Now, the question is around how do you gauge the quality of a teacher? How do you gauge the quality of a teacher? It's only because we have such a communist mindset with regards to education, the education of our children, such a totalitarian mindset with regards to the education of our children, that's even a question. How do we possibly gauge or judge a teacher? Should we have this standardized test or that standardized test? Well, that's all complete nonsense. It's complete madness. And it's very simple to, how do we gauge the success of a movie? By its receipts. How do we gauge whether a singer is successful? Can he sell or she sell records and tickets? It's not really that hard. How do we judge whether a designer's spring line is successful? Do they actually sell? It's not hard. The free market gauges quality as relative to consumer preferences. It gauges quality very easily. There's no need for standardized tests. There's no need for big reviews. There's no need for disciplinary boards. No need for any of that stuff. All that has to happen is parents have to voluntarily and have their taxes reduced by about $10,000 a year, because that's what they're paying to send their kids to public schools. $10,000 to $15,000 a year, have their taxes reduced by some equivalent amount, and then they can go and do whatever they want with their educational dollars. They can homeschool, they can unschool, they can pool together with their community, they can send them to schools wherever they like. We could question the whole paradigm of education for children as it's currently understood. And then we wouldn't need to worry about that. We wouldn't need to worry about the quality of teachers or how you gauge the success of a teacher, because the great teachers would be those who could command the most money. And they would teach that way. How successful is the Khan Academy? I don't know, just look at the hit counts of it. It's not hard, right? Once you have a free market, quality is very easy to determine. It's what price is. So that, I think, is really important to understand, because we're so stuck in this mentality of forcing people at gunpoint to pay for education that's mired in a 18th century farming paradigm, where what is called progress in 150 years is going from having a a teacher teach rows of children with a blackboard to having a teacher teach rows of children that now it has become a whiteboard. That flip of color is 150 years of progress compared to everything else under the sun. So, of course, the teachers' union is going to resist any teachers getting fired, because that will, if the teachers get fired, then the teachers who get fired will tend to be the most expensive and least efficient ones. They obviously want to keep their jobs. If the teachers get fired, the most expensive teachers will be the ones that get fired first if they are the least efficient. And that's less money for the union. I mean, the union makes more money off people making $70,000 a year than it makes off people making $40,000 a year, because there's a percentage of salary. So you understand, they just want to keep the deadbeats, the rich, expensive deadbeats around. That's natural, that's inevitable. There's no real way to avoid that kind of stuff. And finally, I mean,